might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is December 13th, Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. We are so close to the end of the year. Oh my goodness. We have about 18 days left to go. Wow. This year went by fast and we're doing what we got to do. We're going strong into 2024. We are taking no prisoners. But if you do not know who I am your host of the Koffee and Kata show. I am Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. So this is the Koffee and Kata show. What we do, we are going to review a couple of news stories, and then we are going to get into our Kata, which is our practice, our coding challenges. I was going to do the CTFs again today, but I don't think we are necessarily ready for that because I still have a lot of learning to do on how to figure that out, right? So what I did was I started listening to a penetration testing course that is it's on the Free Code Camp YouTube channel. It's free apparently. So what I did was I was listening to that, and one of the first things that you have to do is you have to install Kali Linux, but I don't want to set up like a virtual machine, a virtual box, or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is what we're going to do today is we're going to set it up via Docker. I love using Docker, and I think that would be a good environment where we don't need to actually get a virtual box at least I don't think so right now. We'll find out as we get into it. But I was reading an article that said that you can use Docker to do it, and it's so easy to stop our Docker images, and we don't need to do the whole resources of virtual boxes and computer configurations and all that stuff. So we'll see how that goes. So that's what we'll do this morning. But we're going to get first into our news stories, of course. But before we do that, I just wanted to let you know it's already scheduled to premiere at noon Eastern time today. The Cloud Security Engineering Overview, where it's going to be very, very similar to the Identity and Access Management video that is doing crazy right now. Like, people love that video, asking questions about it. So many different things, right? So that is going to, so it's going to be another video just like that, where you can learn about cloud security engineering, the technologies that they use, like pretty much everything you need to get to know what you're going to get yourself into, to see if you're interested in it. I think it is a great opportunity, but it is a lot of work, a lot of responsibility. So it would definitely be a cool thing to get into. So check it out at noon, right? So go ahead and already go to that video, like it, and hit the notification bell on that video so you can know when it premieres. And, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, comments, all that good stuff, let me know. And then tomorrow night, we are going to be going live, where we're going to be do a seam setup of Grafana, so we're going to be using the rock, paper, scissors challenge that we normally do in the morning, that we're probably going to get back to next week. But we're going to use that so that we can track the logs that are coming into like from when we're using the rock, paper, scissors application, the logs that are coming into it. And we want to have that go into the Grafana, which is going to be tracking the events, right? And then we can review those and stuff like that, because that is a huge part of cybersecurity, the logs, the events and stuff like that, to see what the hell is going on. All right. So, and lastly, if you did not get a chance to check out the monthly cybersecurity Q&A that I did with Socks last night, it was amazing. We had so many good questions. We had good interaction in the chat. Shout out to Green Casey and Leanne for coming through, and and all the people who came through on Sox's side, right? So it was a great night. It was very, very fun, and I look forward to doing it again next month. And with that being said, but when we do it again next month, Sox U should be launched and it should be ready to go. We will have more details coming out about Sox U and what you can get out of it, and just some more information that can help you to get your foot in the door into the cybersecurity industry, right? So, with that being said, we are going to get started. Let me put my timer up. Timer up. And we are going to put our 5 minutes on the clock so we can start looking at our news articles. All right, so 5 minutes is up and running. Let's swap over to the other screen. All right, so in today's first story, let me just set this up real quick. Give me 1 second. I'll restart the clock. Don't worry about it. You are going to get your full news segments for today. All right, let's restart the clock. Okay, so in our first story, X's yearly ad sales way down. What is going on with X over here, right? So Elon Musk's X is set. I'm happy they didn't say formerly known as Twitter, because I think we know what X is by now, right? But Elon Musk's X is set to generate 2.5 billion in advertising revenue this year, Bloomberg reports, citing anonymous sources, below its internal target and significantly less than in 2020 or 2022. When the platform was known as Twitter, X has brought in about 600 million from ads each quarter, compared with 1 billion last year, notes Bloomberg, and those sales accounts for up to 3/4 of its revenue. Advertisers have been fleeing the social network out of concern about content moderation, particularly since Musk himself endorsed an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. An ex-executive told Bloomberg, "We are not Twitter any longer and not measuring ourselves by old Twitter metrics." Musk posted on X in July that ad revenue was down about 50%. So, one thing couple of thoughts on this real quick, right? Number one, X is now a private company, right? So the only the I guess the closed internal investors, this means significantly to them. But I do think that in the attempt to continue bashing Twitter, because Twitter has been forever been bashed, but all of a sudden when Elon Musk takes over it, that's when it's like, oh my goodness, the ads are down. But it's always been toxic, right? Just probably toxic in one direction over another. But it's like now that he's taken over, it's oh my goodness, the ads are the advertising is down. But to me, that just means that people prefer to advertise in when there's different toxic leadership, right? So I don't know. It's just interesting. But one thing interesting here, we are not Twitter any longer and not measuring ourselves by old Twitter metrics. So as we, the public, are going to measure it by the advertising and stuff like that, but it depends on what is the actual goals and that X has, and what is the long-term play, because we might look at quarter to quarter, year to year, but what is the long-term play that they're trying to accomplish? And quite frankly, if it's not a public company that we have the ability to invest in, then honestly, it doesn't really matter to us as much as it matters to the people who are actually capable of investing in it, right? To the stakeholders, to the shareholders, to Elon Musk and whoever gave him money to be able to make this acquisition. But I really don't care what they're measuring themselves by, because I have no vested interest in Twitter, and nor can I, right? So just wanted to throw that there. All right, let's move on to our next story. So we are at the New York Times hires artificial intelligence editorial director. So the New York Times has added a new job title to its newsroom. Quartz co-founder Zach Seward has been named the newspaper's editorial director of artificial intelligence initiatives amid explorations by many news organizations on how to use and not use generative AI tools. Seward will help leadership establish principles around the technology, writes the New York Times. The Times has already begun to experiment with AI use in creating certain kinds of content. The move also comes amid controversy as some publications use generative AI. Use of generative AI has resulted in factual errors or other inappropriate applications. So this is interesting news. Very cool that they're doing this, I guess. But one thing that Socks and I were talking about in last month's Q&A is if you give me a prompt and if you give him a prompt for searching like a particular idea, we're going to come out with two different results because the way that I would search, because my context and understanding of my domain, using that to search AI versus his, like, because mine is more on the technology and QA software development point of view, while his is on more of a cybersecurity, type of stuff. And so his searches would be different than my searches and would have different type of results, ultimately getting to like the same, for the most part, same conclusion, but we're just going about it different places. Which the reason I highlight that is because the use of generative AI has resulted in factual errors and other inappropriate applications because the people who are using it, they might not really know what they're talking about in the first place. So they're not fact checking. They're not like, it's, for the most part, journalism seems like it's becoming a very, very lazy profession. Especially what we can see on TV. And that way, like, you need to be like, just because AI tells you something, right? It's like back in the days when it's like, oh, of course it's true because I saw it on the internet, right? So come on, let's do a better job, guys. All right. So let's go to our last story. So inflation steady before Fed rates. All right. A key gauge of inflation showed that U.S. price growth continued to moderate in November. The overall consumer price index slipped to an annual rate of 3.1% last month from 3.2 in October. The Labor Department reported on Tuesday on a monthly basis it ticked up to 0.1% from being unchanged. Excluding volatile items such as food and fuel, the index was flat from a year ago at 4%. The report is the last official data on price growth that the Federal Reserve will get before its final rate decision of the year on Wednesday. And then some key points: energy prices dropped, helping keep down inflation while shelter costs increase. So yes, I do see the gas prices going a little bit lower at the gas station. Shout out to BJ's Gas. While shelter costs increase, so rents and mortgages and stuff are going up. So it is what it is. The Fed has raised interest rates to a 22-year high to fight the fastest inflation in 4 decades. So interest rates are up, inflation is up. While the economy has remained strong, there has never been as wide a gap between the underlying health of the economy and public perception. So, is this person saying that the economy is doing very well, but the public perception is that it's not doing so well? That's interesting to note. But that is our news for today. So let's go back to here, and we are going to jump right into our setting up Docker for our pen testing. I'm going to put 25 minutes on the clock and we will take off from there. All right. So let's go with 25. All right, cool. So let's get into it. So this is what we're going to be, the guide we're going to be following. All right. So penetration testing with Kali Linux as a Docker container. So how do you know if your systems are secure? Penetration testing is one way to find out. Here is how to set up Kali Linux, which is primarily used for penetration testing, which has a full suite of security testing tools. All right. Well, this was written just last month. No, it was written during our cybersecurity week last month, right? November 11th, 2023, at least published at that time, probably written before that. All right, so penetration testing is a requirement for so many businesses. After all, you're going to need to know if your systems have vulnerabilities so that they can be mitigated as quickly as possible. One of the best ways to do this is to attempt to break into the system itself. One of the most widely used pen testing platforms on the market is Kali Linux. With this Linux distribution, you have a plethora of tools at your disposal. But what if you want to be able to run penetration testing without having to install a full blown operating system? And if you're so, and that's the thing, right? We don't want to have to install the whole operating system, right? But we do want to practice pen testing. So, with that being said, and if your security staff or admins have at least a fundamental understanding of Docker containers, which I think if you are in tech, right, whatever part of tech that you are, you should have a fundamental understanding of Docker containers. No, like maybe not necessarily how to build an image, although that would be awesome, but at least how to pull an image and start a container, right? And then so you can actually like start doing some stuff on it. And then as you go on, then you're gonna get more knowledge because you're gonna need to do more. You're gonna start searching and you're gonna do more, right? So let's continue along. They could always deploy Kali Linux as a Docker container and run pen testing from within a headless container, right? So that's what you want to do, right? It's actually quite a fascinating and flexible method of penetration testing, and I'm going to show you how to make it happen. So that's what we're going to do, right? What you need. I'll demonstrate this process using a Ubuntu server 22.04 base. You can pull this off with any operating system that supports Docker. If you opt for an OS other than Ubuntu or a derivative, you'll need to alter the Docker installation commands. You'll also need a user with sudo privileges. All right. So that's it. Let's make some pen testing magic. All right. So are you ready to make some pen testing magic? I'm ready. All right. So let me do this real quick. All right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And all right. So we are here. So we already have Docker installed. If you do not have Docker installed, I don't even know how many videos I have on how to install Docker and stuff like that, right? But you can follow any of those guides to get Docker installed on your end. Okay, so we're gonna skip this section because I already have Docker installed, and you should, if you follow this channel, if you've been following for a while, you should have as well. If you don't, I will do one of those little linky thingies so that you can go and see how to install Docker on your end. But it's super easy. Like if you just go to docker.com, it should like walk you through installing Docker, right? But also you can I'll post this. I didn't post this in the chat, right? So that way you can also get the copy of this URL that I'm using. And that way you can follow along straight from this article as well, right? But you definitely need to do this, right? Because I'm gonna find some time in some way so that we can go through the like at least the projects or the homework for the pen testing course, so that we can get a better understanding. So then we can come back and we can hit the CTFs stronger than ever because we'll have a better understanding. The reason I pivoted away because it's like we're trying to like we don't know all the strategies, which I was gonna like search for like the checklist and cheat sheet of stuff you should search for when doing CTFs. So maybe we'll do that on Friday, right? But I was like, you know what? Let's set up our environment so we can have a better understanding of how this stuff works, right? So that's the goal of this morning. Not necessarily a coding challenge to say, but it is something that's challenging us because it's going to allow us to continue to get better, right? So we don't need to do the Docker part because I already have it installed. You should as well, but if not, go ahead and follow these directions to get it installed, right? So now we're going to get to the pulling Kali Linux image, okay? So we are going to copy this line and we're going to open up our terminal. And we're gonna paste. So let me move this like right here. Okay, we're gonna paste and we're going to press enter using the default tags. It's pulling in our Docker image. All right, so we have our Kali image loaded up, or the image downloaded, pulled. All right, so now we are going to so let's move this a little bit over here. So it says or move down a little bit like that. So with the image pull, geez, are you serious? With the image pulled, we can now deploy the Kali Linux container with the command docker run. And you've seen this all before, right? So docker run in interactive mode, Kali Linux rolling slash bin bash, right? So this command will not only deploy the container, but it will also land us on the Kali Linux prompt so we can start working with the newly deployed container, right? So we are going to put this command, but I am going to give it a name because I don't want Docker to randomly give it a name and then we have a hard time like knowing, like having to find it to start it up. So we're going to do Docker run, and I'm going to do dash dash name and then TCR Kali, right? Going back to Kali, right? TI for interactive mode and Kali Linux slash Kali dash rolling, and then slash bin slash bash so that we can land directly into the bash prompt as it says up here, right? So let's see what happens. Let's give it a drum roll, please. Oh my goodness, look at that. We are in. And that was quick too. That was awesome. And we are logged in as root. All right. If you ever watch the TV show Person of Interest, you remember Root. All right. So we're gonna do which that show ended up got really sometimes with shows, they have they start losing their storyline. So then they start just doing some crazy to keep it up. But it is what it is. Let's keep going. We are gonna do apt update as it says. So apt update, we can install the required software. Before we can install the required software, we must update apt with the command apt update. All right. That's gonna pull in all the newest stuff, right? Because when you get the image, you're getting it as at the state that it was at the current time. It's like when you buy a new computer, right? And then so it might have been manufactured a year ago, so it doesn't have the newest updates because it hasn't been used. So that's what we're doing here, right? We're updating it just like you'd get a Windows computer or a Mac, and then you have to install the latest OS or the latest updates, the latest patches. All right. So here we are. So after the update, install the package with apt install Kali Linux headless. And you push the dash Y, because if you don't put the dash Y, then it's going to ask you a bunch of questions, and you're going to have to say yes, 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 yes. But when you put the dash Y, it automatically says yes for you, right? So it says, during the installation, you'll be asked a few questions, each of which could be unique to your situation. Pay attention to those questions and answer either yes or no for each. This installation will take some time, between 5 to 20 minutes, depending on the speed of your hardware and network connection. Ooh, okay, so that's going to take some time, but let's see what we can do, right? When the installation completes, so I'm going to press enter so it can start, and let's not waste any time. Oh, typo. All right, let's put that, and we're gonna go like that. All right, so let's keep reading while it's doing its thing. Close this a little bit. All right, so it says when the installation completes, you'll need to exit the running container and issue a commit to save the changes to the container so it can be reused without having to walk through the installation process again. This next step is important. If you simply exit the container using the exit command, you'll lose all your work and will have to go through the Kali Linux headless install once again. That's not an efficient way of working. Instead, SSH into the hosting machine from a different desktop while remaining within the Kali container on the original login. From that login, locate the container ID for the running Kali Linux container with the command SSH into the hosting machine from a different desktop. Can I just use it? So I don't know why they're saying to do it like this, because I can just open up a new terminal window and do the docker ps command. But okay, whatever. I never follow these instructions exactly as they say, because I know what I'm doing for the most part, so I can follow along and say, okay, I can do this way. So I'm going to do something slightly different over here, right? And you'll see. Just follow along with me. Trust me on this, right? So it's doing its installation, doing its thing here. So what we're gonna have to do is Docker PS so we can get the current ID of the container, and we'll know which one it is because it'll have the name. And we'll have to do a Docker commit with that ID. And using the first 4 characters of the running container's ID, commit the changes with the command like, okay, so we're gonna do this. Wonder why it says Kali tools. Where the ID is the first 4 digits of the container. You can also name the image anything you like. I like to use, okay, so we named ours TCR Kali. So we can just do that, commit to that. Now that you've created the new image, which includes all of the headless pen testing tools, you can exit out of the original container, verify the new image was created, Docker images. You should see an image named Kali Tools or whatever you chose to name it. You can deploy a Kali Linux container from the new image. Okay, so it's gonna create a new image named. All right, I got it. All right, so perfect. Makes total sense. Right, you can deploy. You deploy a Kali Linux container from the new image, which includes all of the Kali Linux headless tools with a command like docker run IT. Okay, cool. So pretty much what we did, but it's going to use the new one that we created to do it. So perfect. So I guess we didn't need to actually create the container with the name at that moment because we had to update the image anyways. So let's continue. We're just waiting for this now to be done. Make sure you got your coffee ready or your tea, whatever you prefer. Yeah, so this is gonna be a good thing, right? I'm trying to figure out. I have so many things going on, right? 'Cause in addition to the different softwares that I'm building and my regular day job, working with providing content like Terraform, because Terraform is very important for me to learn. And then doing the, you know, doing the Thursday shows where we kind of dive into different topics. Some of them QA related, some of them not so QA related. Like tomorrow night, it's gonna be a mixture of QA, because like for the longest time in QA, I've used Splunk, I use Sumo Logic. I've been checking logs and stuff like that. So this is gonna be it's gonna be really cool to set it up myself. I already checked out the rock paper scissors project, and it does have logs in there. So we're going to like it does have logging. So we're going to be capturing those logs from the rock paper scissors challenge to go into the to be sent over to Grafana, right? So it's going to be a pretty cool experience. So trying to find out when exactly we're going to be able to go through this pen testing test or pen testing course, right? It's about 15 hours, the free code camp YouTube video, which I'll post in the description as well. But it's about 15 hours, which isn't too bad, to be honest. But to be able to share what I'm learning through it, because this is pretty much the first part of the course was setting up so they set it up through a virtual box or a virtual like VMware or something like that, where they installed Kali Linux, and then they're pretty much doing exactly what we're doing here, except that we are doing it via Docker and they did it through VMware, which I think that either way works. But I just like using Docker because I can easily start it up and turn it off. And for me, it's a lot more lightweight, So that's why I'm going this route instead of because I remember like a few years ago when I first got this Mac with the M1 chip, I tried to install VirtualBox so I can do like I think it was so I could do like Kubernetes and stuff like that. And the M1 said, nope, not having it. They didn't have the necessary support. Maybe they do now. I don't know. But Docker is a good alternative that I can use to do what I need to do, right? And you can see I use Docker for everything, right? So on Thanksgiving, I had the Docker live stream where we ended up Dockerizing an application so that we could, you know, do like do what we need to do, right? So that is what we're working on. And this thing is chugging along, you know. So oh my goodness, we have my buddy Socks in the building. Good morning, Socks. How is it going? I am currently, so let me fill you in real quick, right? I said instead of just randomly searching the mean streets for these flags in the CTFs, why don't we actually learn more about pen testing? So I was listening to a video on YouTube from like the Free Code Camp page where they have a 15-hour pen testing course, right? And I figured like if I do the pen testing, that should help with the CTFs. And they were saying, okay, you need to start off by installing Kali Linux on a virtual box or VMware or something like that, right? But I said, well, I wonder if I can do it through Docker. And then I found this this page which is outlining how to install Kali Linux through Docker. So we can start learning a little bit more about pen testing. So what we're doing right now is we are using Docker to install Kali Linux, which it feels like it's taking a lot of my disk space that I don't have. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now, just to push forward, just to get better with because I really want to be able to figure out these CTFs, but I don't want to go, like we were talking about yesterday, right? Always have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, then you're just going to be wandering around aimlessly, and that is no fun for anybody. So I'm like, all right, let's learn a little bit more about how pen testing works, so you can have like an idea, a checklist, a cheat sheet, you know. Um, so yeah, so that's what we are looking into. And Sock said, I think it's cool to use Docker. I would recommend using Parrot versus. So you're saying use Parrot over Kali? All right, cool, like that. And and here's the cool thing about Docker, which you could do it with a virtual box too, but you got to have like the whole OS and stuff set up. Like if I was to go, we could use um, Docker. We could use Docker to set up Parrot as well, and then we can have a side by side comparison because we can have in one terminal window where we have Kali and another terminal window where we have Parrot, and then we can like do the same type of tests and stuff like that to see okay what results are we getting so we can see which one is better, right? So I think I'm gonna look into Parrot as well, and we can see because that'll be also a pretty good comparison as well. And we have what does he do?
Good guy.
What are you doing up so early, good guy? What are you doing up so early? So happy to see you here. So, um, coach needs new machine M2 Pro soon. That would be nice. I mean, I have my work computer is an M2 Pro, and that thing is a beast. So, trust me, it pains me to switch from my work computer to this measly little 13.3-inch M1. Um, you know, but it is what it is. We're gonna make do, and at some point we will have that M2. All right. So shout out to you, good guy, for being up bright and early. And Socks, keep your eye on the road. But yeah, but I think I appreciate the recommendation for Parrot and what like because you know how I roll, right? I like to get ideas and say, oh, okay, you have this recommendation. Well, why don't we make a project out of it, right? So like when I did the Java versus Python for Selenium, right? It can be it can be we can like have side by side comparison to see how it does. And Sock says, or I can give you a VM hosted on my infrastructure. I will never turn that down. All right. Shout out. Look at Socks. I will never turn that down because with a VM on your infrastructure, it won't use like my resources and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, we can talk about that. That'll be pretty cool too. Oh, you know what? I think that'll be very cool as well because what we can do is give a tour through like, all right, how do we connect to a VM? Which like I've done it before, like connecting to a EC2 instance on AWS. But how about let's connect to one in the SOX U bunker, and that way we can have a better understanding of of what someone could expect once they sign up for SOCSU to start getting more familiar with whatever it is they're signing up for, right? Whether it's pen testing, whether it's for like SOC analyst, whatever the case may be. So I think that'll be a pretty cool thing that we can do, where we can do that together. We'll figure out a day to do that, and I can log into one of those VMs and install whatever we need to install, whether it's Parrot, whether it's Kali, whatever the case may be, right? So I think that's an awesome idea. Awesome idea. So they were not lying when they said that this thing could take like 5 to 20 minutes, because it's been a while now, right? But it is chugging along, chugging along. So if I won't be able to do that, because if I stop it, it'll be gone. But I was gonna say, let's wait for it. You know what? I'm gonna spend some extra time and wait for it to be done, so that we can do all of these steps right here, where we can do the commit. So what I was saying with the commit, right? So if we go here, right? Because they said SSH to your computer, but I don't think we need to SSH, right? So if we go here and we do Docker PS, we have this right here, right? This container ID. So we are going to do Docker commit, and then this ID right here, and then we're going to give it a name of, so we can name it Kali Tools, because that's going to be the name of the I'll name it TCR-Kali Tools, because that's going to be the name of the image once this is done, and then we will create a new image, or a new container, which we're going to call it TCR-Kali Tools, and we should be good to go with that. So it looks like it's almost finished. So because it's unpacking and stuff like that. So we might make it right in the brink of time. Let's see how that goes. All right. So let's see where we're at now. So I think it's almost finished. I hope so. But even if it's not, we'll and the time runs out, we'll take an extra few minutes so we can do this. So Sock says, can you speak to the network consideration with Docker and the networking? Not totally sure what the question is, but I will try. So one of the reasons that I like to use Docker, so there's a pros and cons to using Docker, right? Because let me see how I should put it, right? So one of the reasons I like to use Docker, because everything is localized to my computer. I don't have to like go outside necessarily to connect to something else. I mean, it is going on the internet to pull in everything that's pulling in to install right now, but I don't necessarily have to go out and like work primarily off of a different virtual machine, right? Or infrastructure. I'm like, the infrastructure that I'm working on is in here on my computer here, right? The problem though is that it can be very resource intense, right? So it can take up a lot of space. It can slow down your machine. So it just depends on what you're looking at for. When I'm doing like small projects and stuff like that, like for example, the rock paper scissors challenge, it doesn't really take. I probably have too many resources allocated to Docker at that point. But as you can see, like this is like doing a lot right now, so it's probably going to be pretty resource intensive, which would probably be better to I want to say, I don't know, but like if you were to work on it on a external environment, right? Like as Sox was mentioning, on his infrastructure, then it's you're making that connection to the internet, but you are not using a lot of resources on your computer. But if you have that M2 Pro as M2 Pro as
Good guy.
mentioned, then you shouldn't really have a problem. But so it is what it is. It is going through. It's at 38%. So hopefully it will be done soon, so we can do the commit and we can start it up again. And but let me know if that's what you meant, Socks. I'm not 100% sure if I answered if I touched on what you wanted me to touch on. Another thing with the Docker networking is that because it's localized, sometimes like you need to be able to get it to talk to different Docker containers or within your or with your local host and stuff like that. So it's just like Docker. It's like its own ecosystem that I love using it, but there might be some limitations that you need to work around sometimes. So yeah, so hopefully I did your question justice and that made sense. But if I'm missing something that you wanted me to touch on, let me know and I will definitely do that. We were at 48%. Like they were not lying when they said, you see, he said it right here. He said it right here. This can take 5 to 20 minutes, depending on the speed of your hardware and network connection. I guess my network connection and my speed are not the best, right? But we're gonna make do. We are gonna make do because I think we're almost done. Well, not that I think we are at 50% exactly. Oh my goodness. Guess what?
I'm in a bind, Nate.
Yes, I am, Nate, because I gotta go, but I want this to be finished. I don't want to just leave. So we're gonna wait it out. We are gonna wait it out because we are engineered to win. And I think on that note, I might as well just take down the clock altogether because nothing happening on over here. All right, cool. So let's keep going. Let's see. Does it ask me to do something? Let me see. Oh, okay. So it is asking me to do something. So install. Let's do yes. Users to add to the uh only users in the category are able to use. Please specify the users to be added to a group as a space. Note that currently logged in users who are added to the group will typically need to log out and log in before it's. I mean, I don't know. Let's go with tech coach Ralph. The provided user list contains valid usernames. Users. All right, so maybe we can do root. Okay, there we go. So root. Change Mac automatically. Yes. All right, let's see what Sock says. He says, "I was thinking about the ports and how you host the ability to access the web interface or specific ports when using Docker for things like web hosting and network monitoring." Okay, got you. Perfect. Um, and so let me answer that real quick. So with Docker, the containers have have their ports, right? And with the you have to say, all right, you have to say what port the outside world should be able to access what's in the Docker container, right? So let's say, for instance, you expose port 8080 on Docker, right? So now you need to say, all right, the outside world, right? So the outside world meaning my local computer needs to connect to Docker via port 8080, right? So that means when I go to like localhost, right, I need to go into via port 8080, and that's going to map me into Docker into the containers, what's on port 8080, right? So that way I can do like if I want to access the Docker container on port 1792, right? So then now I would have to say, all right, when I go to port 1792 on my like in localhost, that needs to take me into port 8080 on the Docker container, and then everything works like that, right? So there is a lot of it does have a lot of control and security built into how you can like what you can access on the Docker container and what you can access on the Docker container, right? So it's all about like mapping the ports and stuff like that. I have another question. Should non-super users be able to capture packets? Let's go with yes. And then Sock says, also, you excited me to do more Dockerization. Do you have experience with AWX or Portainer? Not sure about AW. I don't. I'm gonna say no for AWX because I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I do have. If you're referring to Portainer like I have here, um, you probably can't see it because you're driving. But let me go with. Let me see. Let's go with. Please choose a character set that should be supported by the console font. If you don't use a frame buffer, the choice it starts with will reduce the number of available colors in the console. Uh, let's go with. Hmm, I'm gonna go with 23 because I honestly don't know. So go with 23. All right, cool. So if you're referring to this Portainer right here, it's this Portainer. It's used like back a few companies ago. We used a tool called Rancher, and what that was like a container management system. Which Portainer is like a watered down version of Rancher, which also manages containers. So if I was to go to see if this is gonna work, localhost colon 88,000. Not found. All right, hold on one second. Let's see what happened there. Oh, it's port. Wait, port. Let me see. Hold on, let me expand this real quick. It went to port. That one. We tried 9,000. Let me see. I don't think it's this. 8,000 should have worked. It's not found. Let me see. Let's open up our Docker dashboard. Let's do this. I haven't used Portainer in a while because I normally go through the command line, but let's see. Portainer. Make sure we are not have any questions left. Let's see here. What is the recommendation here? Can be run either as a service from or as a standalone server. Each choice has its own benefits. With only a few connections per day, it's probably better to run. I'll go with standalone, I guess. I don't know. Let me see. I was. I haven't used this in a while. I don't. Let me see. They're charging for this. I'm gonna set up 14. All right, let's see. Let me do this. It started. Let me see. All right, local. So okay, I was. I didn't try that one. So if we go here, here. Ah, okay. Zero, zero. All right, cool. Proceed. So, I do not remember what the login for this is whatsoever. Do they have a default login on this? I But yeah, I don't remember what the login for this is, but I have it. I have to find it because I have it set up from a long time ago. I have no idea. Huh. No idea what the login is. But I can always set up a new one if I wanted to. But yeah, it's pretty much it helps you manage your containers, right? Um, and you can start, stop, do configurations from in there. I normally just use the command line, but I've used it in the past. I just don't remember what the login is whatsoever for this thing. So yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but that's what I don't know. I like Docker though, and I think whether you're using Rancher or using Portainer, you can do some really cool stuff in there, or Kubernetes as well, right? Like that's probably the standard right there, right? Let's see where we're at on our installation. It's still going. Okay, we are done. My goodness, that. All right, so let's finish up with. So now they said to. Now we need to do Docker PS. We already did it, but we'll do it again. And here is our that's our container ID, right? So we're gonna do over over here. We're gonna do Docker commit the first four. We're gonna call it TCR Kali tools, right? And we're gonna do enter, and that should create our image for it should create our image that has pretty much everything that we just did. It should have that image, so we can just start it up, and it'll take us straight to our root here, where it has everything that we need installed. Yeah, so let's see. And this must be a very big package because it is taking some time to create the image. Let's see. And it just took like, because I just checked my disk space, and it just took like 10 gigs to do all that setup. So, oof, that's a lot. Gonna have to make room for that. Anyways, let's see. So it's creating the image. And right now it's creating an image, a 10 gig image, so take some time. And here's the thing with what we're doing here, we do not necessarily need to exit this because it's going to commit the image. It is going to create the image based off this what we set up here is going to create the image, and then we're going to see that image created once it's done, and then we're going to do Docker run dash it tcr dash Kali tools bin bash, and it'll take us right back to. We're going to give it a name as well, Um, just give it its time. Cool. But as soon as that's done, we will wrap up for today. But like I mentioned earlier, we do have at 10 o'clock today, right? Because while we're waiting, right? At 10 o'clock, we have a Q&A clip that's coming out, right? And then at noon, we have cloud security engineering overview that's coming out. And then at 3 p.m., we have another Q&A clip that's coming out. So, so much stuff today for Cybersecurity Week. And then tomorrow, like I mentioned, we have at 10, we have another clip from last month's show. Then at 3, we have another clip from last month's show. And then at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night, we are going to be going live. We're going to be working on setting up Grafana. Yeah, we're going to set up Grafana. We're going to use the rock, paper, scissors challenge to set up Grafana. And we're going to have some fun with it, right? And, okay, so our commit is done. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. And then Friday morning, we'll be back for the morning show, and then another 2 clips throughout the day. And we'll call it a week, right? That'll be the end of our cybersecurity week. So much going on, so much fun. All right, so this is done. So now let's do Docker PS, as it said. Or not Docker PS. It should be Docker images. And we should have I gotta get rid of some of these images. They are taking a lot of space. Oh, that's why I don't have so much disk space, right? But there goes TCR Cali tools, right? And then there goes the one from. So let's expand this a little bit. But yeah, you saw how we took care of that socks. Isn't that pretty cool? So the the original Kali that we downloaded was 141 megabytes, right? The the one after we added all the tools became 7.43 gigabytes, right? So that's what it is. So now let's do our last step of Docker run dash. Let's give it dash name tcr Kali tools. And then we're going to do dash interactive for Kali tools slash bin slash bash. See what happens. Oh, I messed up. It's gonna be like this. TCR. So yep, messed up. Now we should be good to go. And we're in, right? We're in. So pwd cd home. We can do stuff. CD dot dot. Cool, right? So we are good to go. All right, let's go back and let's do a quick check real quick, right? Cool. And so keep this in mind. Your disk space can go down by what you have set up in Docker, right? So now if I do an exit on this, right? And we do, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to also exit this one. Because now that I have two images that are both around 7 gigs, so let's do this real quick, right? Let's go and we can go here. And Sock says, at work, thanks, can't wait for Grafana. You and the room have a great day. Shout out to you, Sock. Have a wonderful day and thanks for the stream last night. We will talk later. Have a great day. All right. So let's wrap it up real quick. So you see the disk space that went down. So what I'm going to do is we are going to do Docker RM. And what's the name of this one? Let's do this. Docker PS. Oh, okay. So we're going to do Docker PS-A to get all of them. And we are going to expand this. We're going to do some cleaning right quick, right? So we're going to do, that's probably why I don't have so much disk space because these things are just eating up my disk space. All right, so let's do, this is about, so let's see this happen in real time, right? So Docker RM and see how it just dropped real quick. That's deleting 7 gigs. And the good thing is we have the image, so we can just start it up whenever we want. Oh my goodness, look at the space dropping. Just dropping. All right, so now with that image gone, we should get some more space back very soon. And we can do, let's do Docker PS. And let's remove the one that we just created as well. That was pretty quick to get rid of. Okay, look at that. You see that this space has jumped real quick, right? Because we removed some. So there's probably a bunch of stuff that we can get rid of over here. Because all this stuff is from the. Because every time we install the airflow stuff. Okay, so I have some cleaning to do, right? But it is what it is. So let's do docker ps-a. So if we do let's see. This one's probably huge. Probably huge. I didn't think about that. I should have thought about that before, right? So because these airflows take about like 2 gigs and stuff, right? Let's see our disk space start rising very quickly. Let's see. Never thought about that. Let's say we go take that one. Let's see what else. Doing some cleaning. Let's see, docker rm. And then we'll just install back what we need when we need it. All right. Let's get rid of Kibana. Anything else? Get rid of this. Curious to see when this refreshes, how much disk space I've gained. Let's see. Anything else to get rid of? I think we should be good for now for the most part. And if we do Docker images, let's see what high capacity images we have. We have that one, which we'll keep this one for now. We can keep that one for now. Keep these. I don't know what this is. See, we have all these that are. These aren't taking that much. Oh, wait. Let's go for 2 years ago. Anyways, that's enough for that, right? But I will definitely do some maintenance on this stuff to get it cleaned up. But that's where we're at. That is where we are at. Anyways, thank you for tuning in today. I hope that you had some fun seeing us install the Docker image for Kali Linux, and we'll probably do is install the one for Parrot as well, so we can have a side by side comparison to see what that's all about. So very cool stuff, right? But like I said earlier, check out we have 2 Q&As, questions for Cybersecurity Week coming out today, one at 10, one at 3, and then we have at noon, the highlight of the day. We have our cloud security engineering overview presentation coming out. It's set to premiere, so go ahead and hit the notification bell for that video. And tomorrow night, we're going to be going live with Grafana. So check us out. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. Like the video, share the video. Check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev. But on that note, thank you for tuning in. We are out.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.